All right. Peace and love. Blessings, family. Make sure my mic is on. Yep. You see the title. America is Babylon, Part 1. What the health? I should have put what in the health. But I'm going to keep it simple. I'm going to keep it real simple. Y'all can see the symbol. Y'all can see the sign. A lot of y'all already know what this symbol is. Y'all can see it. I mean, it's plain as day. I mean, you're very intelligent, smart people. So this is very important because if you're like me, when we see this, we kind of turn our heads because we think that something like this, it has significant meaning. It's all about health and, everything is for our good, and that's at least, the way our mind has worked, has been trained to accept images, which is totally unacceptable in the eyes of the Most High. Totally unacceptable in the eyes of the Most High. I was doing some reading and I came across this verse here in Numbers 21. Numbers 21, let's go here to verse 7. I'm gonna start here and just kind of read down, not the whole chapter, just a couple verses. But this is what I was reading. This is what inspired this whole, post, right? And because I've been doing some research on Constantine and some things that happened, during his time, right? And so, but anyway, this verse right here is a part of my study, and so I just wanted to kind of present and give y'all a little information. You can take this, go run with it, go look it up for yourself. All right, let's get into it. Numbers 21. Let's put it up. We're getting a little better with our videos. All right. There it is. Numbers 21, verse 7. And it says, the people came to Moses and said, we sin by speaking against the Lord Yahuwah and against you. Intercede with the Lord to take away the serpents from us. And Moses interceded for the people. Now you're gonna have to go back and read the entire chapter so you can understand what's going on, but I want to pull out the piece so that you can understand where I'm going with this. Okay, for those who are not familiar with the story. All right. Then the Lord said to Moses, make a seraph figure and mount it on a standard. And if anyone who is bitten look at it, he shall recover. Moses made a copper serpent and mounted it on a standard. And when anyone was bitten by a serpent, he would look at the copper serpent and recover. All right. Now, we're talking about a serpent that was mounted on top. We don't know exactly what that looks like, but it said a serpent was mounted on top of a standard, of a rod, of a staff. Okay. Was it the whole serpent, half a serpent? Was it just his head? Okay. What we do know is that the symbol that stands for the medical industry, all right, is what you're seeing here on this page. And when you look at the meaning of it, a lot of places they give you, the history behind it because they actually want you to know. Okay, it's not hidden in dark, just people have not taken the time to look at it. But this symbol, it has some really deep meaning to it. And so I want to kind of show you what I've discovered that just blew my mind totally. Okay. All right. So what is it exactly? All right, let's pull that up real quick so we can, okay, here's the picture here. You can see that. Let me blow it up a little bit for those who might be on their cell phone. All right. This is the image that we're talking about right here. All right. This is the medical image. Just like this image right here that we're seeing here. It's the very same thing. Very same thing. Okay. And clearly, you can kind of see what they're trying to insinuate here is that the strength of this symbol defeats death. Okay. And this person, we'll read about him in just a second. Matter of fact, here's a piece of it right here. The Rod of Esclepius and the caduceus aren't actually the same symbol or even from the same source, but now their histories are permanently intertwined. All right, there it is. You get a top view of what it actually means. We actually thought that this was one and the same, when in reality, of course, they're telling us that they're two different symbols, and through time and history, they have intertwined the two. All right. So it's time to break it apart so we can get deep into it and understand what it is it truly means. All right. So we read Numbers 21 already. All right. Let's see what the medical company, the medical world, this site here is the National Library of Medicine, National Institute of Health website. And this is an abstract that breaks it down. Tell us what the caduceus is. All right. And you can go and find this. Just type this word in and it will bring this up. But what I want to point out is the history. Let's just get into the meat of it. Right here, if you scroll down the page, you'll see. Let me make it bigger so you can see it yourself. Okay, and even here they're saying, why a snake? Let's read that. Let's get into that a little bit. It says, have you ever wondered why is a snake? I'm sure they mean why it is a snake, which is a symbol of destruction, used ironically as a symbol of healing. Well, the answer lies deep sewn in history when Moses, around 1400 BC, used the bronze serpent. It wasn't bronze, it was copper, erected on a pole to cure the people who were bitten by snakes. The other reason why serpent has been used in the shedding of the skin that indicated longevity and immortality. Okay, so we getting a mixture of biblical history and some paganism. All right, let's get down to the bottom of this. The confusion starts with the use of the caduceus and the Rod of Esclepius. Two different images, two different meanings. This is why it's important for us to know what is expected of us by reading the word of Yah and sticking to his word, because he told us not to make any type of images of anything in heaven or on earth. Now, you may say, well, God just, he just told them to make, a staff of the serpent. That's a whole different conversation, but to a certain degree, you are right. But what Yah had ordered for them to do is not for what they're doing here. This was a reason for them to understand, their sin, and, for them to be corrected in the same way that their sin, that everything is just coming back full circle for them to understand who Yah is. All right, because they're coming from a nature of worshiping idols, and so through Moses, we're seeing him reshape all of that and strip them of those things. And so but that's a whole different conversation. But I want you to see here how they're blending these two concepts, these two ideas, these two images into one. And when we look at it, we don't realize that. We don't know the history of it. At least for myself, I didn't. And especially with COVID, we're more in tune to, what the medical industry is, promoting and pushing as far as the vaccine goes. We need to know these things. Whether you take the vaccine or not, you still should know what is involved, because you may have a friend or family member who's saying they're going to take the vaccine. I myself, I have very close people around me who are taking the vaccine, have taken the vaccine. You know, I have my own personal stance on that. Okay, but I just want to show you what we're dealing with and who is, you know, behind it. All right, is this something that? Well, I'm not gonna make that comment, but let's get into this, and I'm gonna let you formulate your own ideas behind that. Okay, here it is. The caduceus is a symbol of Hermes or Mercury, same gods in Greek and Roman mythology. Okay, same ideas, two different names. All right, one Roman, one Greek. The caduceus symbol is identified with thieves, merchants, messengers, and Mercury is said to be a patron of thieves and outlaws, not a desirable protector of physicians. Again, the caduceus symbol, this symbol right here, this is the caduceus with the single staff with the two snakes intertwined. Okay, let's go back to see what it says. Let's read it again. If I can find my page. The caduceus is a symbol of Hermes or Mercury in Greek and Roman mythology. Caduceus symbol is identified with thieves, merchants, and messengers. Now, this is coming from, again, the National Library of Medicine, National Institute of Health. They're giving you the facts right here. They're helping you to understand the symbols. Left side image is the Rod of Esclepius, while the right side image is the caduceus. Make that smaller for you. How about that? That just okay. Just making some adjustments here. Just want to make sure everything is still online, y'all. All right. But you can come back to this website and look into it a bit further to understand it. There it is. Okay. On the left side is the Rod of Esclepius, and the right side is the caduceus. This symbol here is also, you know, a part of the Hippocrates, the Hippocratic Oath. It's a hard word for me to say. And when you read that, there's actually two versions of it. And so here on medicinenet.com, they give you both versions of it, the classic version and the modern version. And so let me just read the first couple lines of the modern version, because many people who read it today don't even realize or even know it themselves. You know, that's the world we're living in. You may not even know these things. You see, just like we discussed not too long ago about the Oreo cookie. You know, the Oreo cookie has the satanic cross on it, right? And now we're seeing the Rod of Asclepius and the caduceus, and we're about to find out a little bit more about it. Some of these things you may already know, but in case you did not know, then let's talk about it. All right. So here we see, I swear to fulfill to the best of my ability and judgment. This is the modern version of the Hippocratic Oath. I swear to fulfill to the best of my ability and judgment this covenant. I will respect the hard-won scientific gains of those physicians in whose steps I walk, and gladly share such knowledge as in mine with those who are to follow. Okay. So just within those few lines, everything sounds beautiful. It's a very beautiful poem. Let's go down here. Let's see what the reference is. Down here it says, but it may also be within my power to take a life. This awesome responsibility must be faced with great humbleness and awareness of my own frailty. Above all, I must not play at God. Okay, he kind of sweetened it up, but he said it may also be within my power to take a life. This is very interesting that you would include this and repeat these very words. At no time do you have the right to take anyone's life. Now, there are certain circumstances. I hear y'all. I hear you. I hear you. When you think about people who are on, who's been, who got the tube down their mouth and all that kind of stuff. I don't know what you call that, but on the respirator, not the respirator, whatever you call it, whatever it is, when people go in there and have to pull the plug and you have to make that decision, that's a hard decision to make. So that's another conversation within itself, but I'm still sticking to the fact that you don't have the right, but what do? You leave them on there or not? I don't know. All right. I just never want to be in that position. I have no idea. All right. Maybe we could talk about that sometime. When is it okay? Okay. Or is it ever okay? Let's go to the classic version. I'm going to blow this up just a little bit just so that you can see it, just in case you can't. It says here, I swear by Apollo, physician, and Asclepius, and Hygieia, and Panaceia, and all the gods and goddesses, making them my witness, that I will fulfill according to my ability and judgment this oath and this covenant. This is the classic original version of the Hippocratic Oath. Okay. Let's read some more of this. I told him who has taught me this art as equal to my parents, and to live my life in partnership with him. And if he is in need of money, to give him a share of mine, and to regard his offspring as equal to my brothers in male lineage, and to teach them this art, if they desire to learn it, without fee and covenant. Oh, really? Without fee and covenant. Okay. To give a share of precepts and oral instruction and all the other learning to my sons, and to the sons of him who has instructed me, and to pupils who have signed the covenant and have taken an oath according to the medical law, but no one else. And they trying to lock it in. Nobody can know this stuff. All right. I will apply dietetic measures for the benefit of the sick according to my ability and judgment. I will keep them from harm and injustice. Really. I will neither give a deadly drug, okay, to anybody who asks for it, nor will I make a suggestion to this effect. Similarly, I would not give to a woman an abortive remedy. I did not know that was in there. I will not give to a woman an abortive remedy. In purity and holiness, I will guard my life and my art. I will not use the knife, not even on sufferers from stone, but withdraw in favor of such men as are engaged in this work. He said, I will not use the knife. But what do we hear now? People going under the knife. Whatever houses I may visit, I will come for the benefit of the sick, remaining free for all. Wow. How much are you paying for medical coverage? Intentional injustice. I can think of a few times where people have died because of intentional injustice. I can think of a few examples. I'm not going to give it on this video, but I can think of a few where people have died. People of color have died as a result of this. Now, if they're taking this oath and they break this oath, does that mean that they lose their license? I don't know. That's a good question. Maybe we should look into that and hold people accountable to this because they took an oath. Whatever houses I may visit, I'm back reading again, I will come for the benefit of the sick, remaining free of all intentional injustice, of all mischief, and in particular of sex relations with both female and male persons, be they free or slaves. We're talking over 1,000 years ago. You know, this is a great piece of art. You can come back and read the rest of it yourself, but already we're getting into a deeper understanding of who the medical system is, where it was, and where it is now. Who are the fathers of it, and what were their ideas that stand behind it that gives us this very symbol? As we can see, and we know, of course, that this is all related to Greek and Roman mythology. Okay, Greek and Roman mythology. And here we're going back to the classic version of the Hippocratic Oath, where it says, I swear by Apollo, physician, and Asclepius, and Hygieia, and Panaceia. Well, again, Apollo is a god, right? Asclepius is a mortal who was made a god, who then became the god of medicine. Hygieia, interesting enough, doesn't that look like, or isn't that a term that means hygiene? So when we use the word hygiene, are we actually giving credence to this woman? Same thing with Panaceia, medical terms. For those who know medical terms, you use these words and know these terms and use them all the time and don't even know it. Hygieia. Interesting. I pulled that up and let's see exactly who she is. This is an image of her. All right. This is a statue in Poznan, Poland. Okay. And let's read about her real quick. Hygieia is in Greek religion, goddess of health. How about that? The oldest traces of her cult are at Titane, west of Corinth. I believe that's in the Bible when Paul wrote a letter to Corinth, to the Corinthians. All right. And there's a book in the Bible called Corinthians, where she was worshipped in Corinth together with Asclepius, the god of medicine. At first, no special relationship existed between her and Asclepius, but gradually she came to be regarded as his daughter. Stay with me. Later literature, however, makes her his wife. So again, are we're gonna see a pattern of that? We're gonna see a pattern of the possibilities. You know, and this is just side note stuff, that possibilities of, and in some instances, no, it's pure facts where you see incest happening within, you know, some of these dynasties. But anyway, you see here what's going on, who Hygieia is. So whenever you're saying the word Hygieia, you're speaking of a woman who was married to her father. Because as you begin to do the study on it, you start to see that quite a lot. And you begin to see where a lot of writers was writing about that. You know, hey, I'm not, you know, making it a factual situation, but do your research on it, because for myself, this is what I am I'm discovering. Okay, let's dig a little deeper. All right, we'll just dig just a tad bit deeper. Here's another sister of Hygieia, who is Salus. Okay, the goddess of safety and welfare, later identified with the Greek Hygieia. Her temple on the Quirinal at Rome, dedicated in 302 BC, was the scene of an annual sacrifice on August the 5th, the Augurium Salutis, not involving a personification and possibly antedating the deification of Salus, was an annual ascertainment of the acceptability of the gods of prayers for the public Salus. So for the public safety. It was an annual ascertainment of the acceptability to the gods of prayers for the public salus, for the public safety, for the public welfare, for the public safety. I was doing a little bit more research and study and along this very topic, and then I came across a picture here that shows can I make this bigger? Last time it messed up. There it is. Okay. I just can't move it, but I'm pretty sure you can see it. All right. So again, here is, all right, I'm just going to read a little piece of this. You got Caracaia removes the image of Geta. Caracaia and Geta are brothers. And this is going to be on another topic, which includes more information on Constantine. But what we'll see here with Caracaia, who is a member of the Severan dynasty, who ruled from 211 to 217 CE. He was initially co-emperor with his younger brother Geta, but after months of squabbling between the sibling rulers, Caracaia and Geta, Caracaia had Geta assassinated. All right, this death was quickly followed by a damnatio memoriae, one in which it became a capital offense to even speak the name of the younger brother. So basically, what happened in this image is that Caracaia and this is their mother, okay, and he was actually here. So they had him removed out of this image, and there you see the carusa. The carousel, the carusa, whatever it is. All right, there you see it right here. Okay, it's kind of broken up, but that's it. And what's interesting is that they're here at at an altar, and they're making a sacrifice. And this is on a ark. This is on the ark of this is somebody's ark here. The Ark of Argentari, Rome, completed in 204. Okay, this relief showing Septimus Severus and Julia Domna. Okay, I'm sorry, Septu. This is Julia Domna. This is the mother of Caracaia, and this is their father. And their father died. They believe that he was poisoned. They think the two brothers killed him, and then they took power. Okay, and the mother was still ruling, of course, and then you get Caracaia, who kills his brother and takes his land and property, and now he rules. Okay, and it's a deeper story, but what it all leads to is that these are the grandparents of Constantine the Great. That's all this is. These are the father and the grandfather grandmothers of Constantine the Great. And what you're going to discover here also later, and I'm just going to tell you right now, and how it all makes sense, because these two here, again, they have the Carusa here. They're here to make a dedication at the altar to the god Mercury. Okay, so now we have Apollo and we have the god Mercury involved into this, and we'll see a little bit more later. I'm not going to reveal that, but you'll see later. But this is at the altar where they're giving a sacrifice to Mercury. Okay. Okay. Here's a little bit more about the Rod of Esclepius. It says the story of Asclepius. Asclepius was the son of Apollo and a nymph named Coronis. And after a pretty gnarly childhood, of course, he eventually learned medicine well enough to return a patient from the dead. Zeus did not care for this and killed him with a lightning bolt. Apollo gets him immortalized in the constellation of Ophiuchus, also known as the Serpent Bearer. And Asclepius became a god of medicine. And there you have it. So if you was to ask me, this has nothing to do with Moses. This is just a way for the Christians to accept this and to uphold it because they tied it to, Christian beliefs. But because we don't rock like that, then, we have to stay aware and know what we're dealing with. Now, some of you may work in the industry. I mean, you have to deal with that yourself, but just know what you're dealing with, just in case you did not know. Okay. Cool. All right. But anyway, just wanted to drop those jewels to you real quick, and just thought it was, very interesting on this study. On the next one that I'm gonna do is gonna be a continuation of who Hygieia is, Geta, and how they relate to Constantine, and why that relationship is so special, and the historical connection that predates a lot of people, that goes back to the time of the Maccabean revolt, and just a little bit earlier than that, and how these families, they always stay interconnected some kind of way, and basically, it's all through incest, and that's how we have the formulation of Greek and Roman power. So when we read the book of Revelations, we'll see that there is a woman in there that's referred to as the dragon, or referred to as the harlot, and the harlot has daughters. And so as you begin to read this and understand it a little bit better, you begin to make the connections, because what the Bible is speaking about and how history all lines up, it can't be no plainer than that. All right. The God we serve is so thoughtful, and making sure that we were free from those things, staying away from the idolatry. But of course, people, we get caught up in it. We're living in the middle of it, so it's kind of hard for us to know, especially when your whole history has been taken away from you. You don't know anything, and so when these things, you don't know their language. So every time they went into captivity, they're living amongst people who speak a different language, and not everybody spoke that language. So some people are just following just to be following. They have no clue. And then the babies that are born into it, and they're not taught. So we're trying to break that cycle and teach people so we'll know what it is that we're looking at. Do you know what you're looking at when you're looking at it? Do you take the time to actually, research it? All right. So I hope this video is of help. I'm sorry it took so long, but I've been looking at this. I'm looking at a lot of different things, and it's just so hard to make a determination on how to bring it because it's just so much information. You can go so many different ways. I actually started working on, let me see if I can pull this up. I started working on a flow chart here. Well, not really a flow chart, but kind of like I want to say a family chart, but at the same time, it's a chronology. Okay. And so let me bring it down a little bit. But this is all in reference to Daniel in the Revelation. Not so much of Revelations, but because people try to include Revelations along with Daniel, then this is what this timeline is all about. And so I've just been building this out. I want to share with y'all. As you can tell, it's new, but I'm very excited about it because this is going to be very in depth. This is going to be a very long presentation. This probably might be like about 2-3 hour presentation. So that's what I've been working on, has really been studying this. Antiochus was a bad guy, terrible guy, terrible. Just he needed a hug. Seriously, something was not right with this guy. Look him up, Antiochus, and man, yeah, totally. But anyway, thanks again for tuning in. Thanks for being a part of the group. You got any questions? Leave it in the comments.